So, like I was saying, we've been working with ratios and rates. Okay, ratios are written like fractions. Okay, they can be written other ways. They just compare two different quantities. Now remember, all a ratio does is like this. So if we have circle and triangles, okay, we want to compare the circles and triangles. Say they say write a ratio with circles compared to triangles. Okay, so how many circles do we have? 3. How many triangles do we have?
4.
3 to 4. That's it. That's how you write a ratio. Okay, we can't simplify that anymore because it's already simplified down. All right, so we're going to be working with stuff like that a little bit. Now, what a ratio table is a table that can be used to find and organize equivalent ratios. So we're basically going to be taking a bunch of ratios that are already written out for us and put them into a table. And I'll explain how that works and how we're going to go from there. So basically it's just a table that can be used to find and organize equivalent ratios. Yes. Yes. Okay, so basically to fill in a ratio table, you multiply or divide by the same number. Okay, an example of a ratio table looks like this. It's just literally a table. So let's say we have locks and we have keys. So here we have 45 locks, we have 55 keys. Okay, another ratio would be 9 to 11. So that's what a table is going to look like, a ratio table. Okay, and these work because you are working with equivalent ratios. Basically, that means that you can simplify them by using the same number over and over again. So, how do you go from 45 to 9?
5.
Okay, yes, it's 5, but doing what? 45 times 5 is 9. Dividing. Okay, we divide by 5. Now, if you look, we do the same thing down here. That's what I mean by you're multiplying or dividing by the same number. Okay, we had to divide up here to get from 45 to 9. You got to do the same thing down here. That's what ratio tables are. Now a non-example of this would look like this. Say we have locks and keys again. Okay, so we have 5. We have 6, and then 3, and then 12. So if you look, how do you get from 6 to 12?
It would be 2.
Times 2. Are we doing the same thing up here?
No.
No, because you're dividing by like 1.5 almost. Okay, so that's why it's non-example, because that's not the same thing. It has to be the same thing over and over. It's like a pattern. Okay, that's what ratio tables are. Okay, nothing crazy.
That's easy. They made it seem like it was really good.
Exactly, that's what I tried to tell them last hour. Okay, now equivalent ratios. Okay, so that's what these are. These numbers in here are equivalent ratios. Those are ratios that describe, I can't spell, the same relationship.
I should put that, and I put THFD.
So ratios that describe the same relationship. That's what equivalent ratio tables. You are going to multiply or divide by the same number.
I have a question. Like whenever you're doing like the ratio tables,
Tables of equivalent ratios would be, so we had 1 to 4 as our ratio. An equivalent one would be 3 to 12. Because if you multiply 1 and 4 by the same number, you'll get to 3 and 12. If you multiply by 3, what's 1 times 3? 4 times 3.
12.
So that's what they multiplied by the same number. That's what it means to be equivalent ratios. Now, another example, or non-example, 1 to 4, 4 to 25. Does that even work? No, because you can't multiply these numbers. They'll never equal. They'll never be equivalent.
What is your plus sign? It does not look good.
That's not a plus sign. It's an and sign. Okay, then you're going to go back to the front page once you have all that. So go back to the front page. All right, so on the front page, okay, once again, up here at the top, it says important vocabulary. A ratio, it's a table that can be used to find and organize equivalent ratios. And then equivalent ratios are ratios that describe the same relationship. Well. All right, so to fill in a ratio table, multiply or divide to each quantity in the ratio by the same number. Okay, that's what we're doing all today, multiplying or dividing. So they've given us an example of one. So say there's 2 teachers for 5 students. Okay, how are they going to, we got to figure out how many teachers there are going to be for 15 students. How do they get from 5 to 15? Not divided, because we started at 5. Times 3. So whatever you do at the bottom, you got to do the top. So what's 2 times 3?
6.
There you go. That's how you fill out a ratio table. That's done. That's the answer right there.
I did it the last bill and actually enjoyed it. It's actually kind of fun. It's really easy.
It's very simple as long as you follow the steps. Okay, so now down here we have apples and oranges. Okay, so we have 12 apples, 24 oranges. Okay, so if we start at 12, we're going down to 3 apples. How do we get from 12 to 3?
Divide by 4.
Divide by 4. So we got to do the same thing down here. What's 24 divided by 4? And there you go. That's it. Okay, we're going to cross out the juice and the soda one. I don't like that one because it doesn't make any sense. I don't know why they put it on there. Okay, so now we have fish and cats, but we have 3 categories here. All right, so first off, we gotta go from this 6 to 12 because we gotta figure out how we got from what number this is gonna be. So how do we get from 6 to 12? Times 2. And then we gotta do the same thing up here. What's 5 times 2?
10.
So if you look, we get from 10 to 20. Are we multiplying by the same number?
Yes.
Yes, so 12 times 2.
12 times 2.
And there you go. Okay? So that's why I kept saying it's the same number over and over again. It's a pattern. If they switch it up, there's something wrong because that's not a ratio table. It has to be the same number over and over again. All right, so let's jump over to the third page now. The last one. Okay, we're going to do a couple of these together. So number 1, okay, we have cats and dogs. So 7 cats, 2 dogs. Okay, they have 21 cats. We got to figure out how many dogs that is. How do they go from 7 to 21?
3.
Times 3. So we do the same thing down here. What's 2 times 3?
6.
There you go. All they're wanting you to do with these ratio tables is fill in that missing spot. That's it. So then number 2 here, seeds and sprouts. We have 12 seeds, 14 sprouts. Okay, how do we go from 12 to 6? Divide by 2. So we got to do the same thing down here, which is 7.
I don't kind of like 7.
All right, I want to do number 6 now. Okay, number 6 looks a little different because if you look, we have pillows and couches. So they started in the second box, so 24 and 60. And then if you look, they have 10 down here for couches. So we have to work backwards this time. So sometimes you got to work the opposite way. It just depends on the numbers they give you. So how do we get from 60 to 10? Divide by 6. So you got to do the same thing here. What's 24 divided by 6? And there you go. Okay? Any questions on that?
No.
All right, I want you guys to try to do 3, 4, and 5. Just those 3 right in the middle of the page.
We did number 3. Say numbers.
All right, so number 3, we have locks and keys. So we have 45 locks, 55 keys. And then they gave us 11 keys. How do we get from 55 to 11? Thank you. Kaylee. Not times 5 because 55 times divided by 5. So we got to do the same thing up here. So what's 45 divided by 5?
9.
9.
Oh,
Should be 9. All right, number 4. So we have miles and hours. So we have 60 miles for 2 hours. They want to figure out how many miles it is for 10 hours. How are we getting from 2 to 10? Times 5. So how are we getting, so what are we going to do here? 60 times 5 is,
15.
should be 300.
What? Huh?
Yes, guys, if we're multiplying by 5, 2 to 10, 2 times 5 is 10. 60 times 5 is 300. You guys divided. Remember, you're multiplying or dividing the same thing. Okay, now number 5. So we're going from 12 bikes and 24 tires. Okay, now we have 36 bikes. How do we get from 12 to 36? Times 3. So you got to do the same thing down here. So what's 24 times 3?
72.
72 tires.
I got stuck on everything.
Okay, any questions? All right, your homework for today, but you're not doing that yet. Homework today is on IXL. It's not due till Sunday, 6R7. But first, you guys are going to fill out these exit slips.